You got into one of the most prestigious institutions of India and then you took a drop.
I think I've been like a pretty rebellious kid. Free work is a controversial thing, but kids make too much noise with spray hot water all over them.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember I had sent like 150 cold emails, and out of them, 5 would revert back. You don't really need a degree for a profession that can't get others killed.
You have a lot of people saying, "Oh, just like you don't care about that and just go for your passion, quit your job, travel." I believe
Okay, I'm not broke today. That's good.
That's Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cashvisory podcast. I'm Arpita, the co-founder of Cashvisory, and we are on a mission to get every youngster to their first investments. Today we have someone very interesting with us, Dayamay Udaygiri. He's an artist, a developer, a professional designer, and a freelancer all in one. He is a content creator with more than 500,000 views on Instagram, and as he describes himself in his Instagram bio, a college dropout. Now, if you're shocked by this revelation, then stay tuned as we dive right into what led him to make this bold decision and how he went from being a college dropout to a successful content creator. And especially if you find the Easter egg in this podcast, you stand a chance to get a very structured roadmap which tells you how to go 0 to 1 in design, and not just that, even landing your first client. Welcome, Daya.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited.
Super excited as well. I mean, you're one of the most interesting guests that we have hosted just because of your journey at this young age, and there's so much more that we want to know about you. But first off, I think we'll just address the elephant in the room. What exactly happened? You got into one of the most prestigious institutions of India, and then you took a drop from there. So what happened?
Most prestigious, I don't know about that. It's NIT Silchar. It's pretty prestigious though.
It is.
Yeah, so basically, I'll tell you what happened. I got into college, right? And the first class that we had in college, the first day of classes that we had, it was pretty smooth. It was pretty chill. And then the last class of the day was mechanical engineering. And I went in, and the class went smooth again. But then at the end, the professor gave an inspirational talk, and the inspirational talk was centered around getting a government job. So he was like, आपको 4 साल रगड़ के मेहनत करना है, and आपको government job चाहिए ना, आपको like 4 साल रगड़ के मेहनत करना होगा, and you have to work very very hard, then you'll land a government job. And that was something like I wasn't very excited about, so I was more into building stuff. And yeah, so that was like one of the major decisions, one of the major influences that led me to take this decision. And yeah.
So I'm personally a huge fan of swimming against the tide. People who know me personally know that a lot of times I take up things just because it's fun to go against tide,
Yeah.
right? So has it always been a side of you, or dropping out of college was your first brush with it?
I think I've been like a pretty rebellious kid, like ever since I was a kid and everything. But I think, yeah, this is like the first time I've taken an actual decision to like something major, right? Dropping out
Yeah.
of college. Yeah, dropping out of tertiary education.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us, and the audience, because we have a lot of young audiences there. I'm sure we don't want any message to go across
Yeah,
that is
don't
not
drop out of college, kids. College
That-
is great.
doesn't have a thought process behind, right? I don't think it's for everyone. College is not
Yeah.
for everyone. Dropping out is not for everyone. So tell us more about your thought process. What went behind your mind? Did you have a plan to do it, or you were just looking to take a break? How did that come about?
So yeah, basically I was going to college every day, and there were hours of classes that I didn't want to attend. I mean, I was studying civil engineering. My head was in design. So like we had classes from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is a lot of hours, and like all those hours going waste. I figured ki if I spend 4 years, you know, like spending all these hours into something I like, which is design, um, something much more productive would come out of
Yeah.
it. And I felt like I was just wasting my seat and everything. So, yeah.
So how did you venture into design, though?
Oh, so basically, there was this workshop in college for UX. I had no clue what UX was. It's basically user experience design, right? So again, going back to when I was a kid, I used to solve problems using hardware. We
Yeah.
had this crazy robotics lab in school,
Yeah.
and we would go there and we would like build robots using Arduino. There was even a project. So basically, the problem statement was kids are making too much noise. So we made a project where there would be sound sensors,
Yeah.
and if the kids make too much noise, we'd spray hot water all over them.
Wow.
Yeah. So stupid, crazy projects. So there was a lot of like the UX design process ka thinking there, like understanding your users, understanding the pain points, empathizing with them, then defining and ideating, executing, user testing, feedback loops, all of that. So I had no clue about this, right? So I had
Yeah.
dropped Arduino and everything. Um, and then in college, when I attended the workshop of, that UX design workshop, I was like, oh, this is something I've been doing ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I feel pretty connected to it. So I felt like, yeah, this is a pretty good route for me to go.
Yeah.
Then I just left everything and dived deep into like UX
Design.
design. Yeah.
So in some way or the other, your college workshop and your college did play a role in
Yeah.
directing
Actually
you
did.
towards your passion.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next question is, do you think higher education or college education is important for a career in design? Can aspiring designers dream of getting the best paid jobs in the biggest firms without having a degree?
So college is great. Having a design degree is great. Teaches you a lot of things. But also 95% of the designers that I know, they don't have a design degree.
Yeah.
A lot of them have dropped out of college as well. A lot of them were studying commerce, and then after completing their commerce degree, they switched to design. And then a lot of them were. I know a lot of designers also who are software developers, and yeah, they switched to design. So even in a lot of like top position, I really don't think like a degree in design, especially, is that important. So yeah,
So what do you think is the most important factor in design, if not the degree?
definitely skill,
Yeah.
networking, putting yourself out there, reach, getting more eyes on you, because they're great designers, but they don't work on like. Another great thing is building in public.
Building in public.
Yeah,
That's
building
very
in public
important.
has helped me get my first job, has helped me get a lot of freelance clients, etc. So yeah.
Talking about clients, any interesting anecdote you'd like to share with our audience on getting, how you managed to get a client? I'm sure it'll be very helpful for the freelancers out there.
So a lot of cold emails, a lot of setting up calls, getting rejected. So I remember I had sent like 150 cold emails, and out of them, 5 would revert back, one would get on a call. Just like in the beginning, right? When you don't have a portfolio or anything, you can work on passion projects and just start pitching to as many startups as you can. Even do free work. Free work is a controversial thing, like,
Yeah.
but it has helped me. So I did a bunch of free work, which helped me build my portfolio and then uh, show it to other clients that I was pitching to, right? So that really helps. Yeah, a lot of pitching, cold emailing, sales.
Sales as
Yeah.
well. So as a freelancer designer, what part of your work is design? What part, like how much percentage you would say broadly goes into designing? How much percentage goes into like looking for clients and actual sales and
Yeah,
pitching?
this is pretty interesting because this is something I've been facing recently. Um, so in the whole process, right, of pitching to a client, onboarding them, working with them, completing the project, I've noticed that around 30% is design.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been noticing, uh, which I don't think if it's ideal. Maybe I should get more hands-on, scale into a small team or something. But a lot of time goes into operational work.
Yeah.
So design operations, client will be like, hey, update the copy, update the images.
Yeah.
Hey, we have decided to change from this to this. So yeah, and also uh, onboarding the client is also a pretty hectic process.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build that trust while all of that stuff is going on, right? So yeah.
What is your standard operating procedure to be like building that rapport, that trust with your client?
Just a lot of calls,
Calls.
being friendly with them, listening to all of their queries and making sure they're satisfied,
Yeah.
like they're at peace. So a lot of times when I have outsourced my work to other designers, like that, uh, that peace of mind isn't there a lot of times. I'm like, are they doing it? Are they not doing it?
Right.
It'll be fine. So like creating that peace of mind, communication,
Yeah.
is something I feel like I still should work on as I've worked with more and more clients. So yeah, so I think communicating every single small thing is like super important.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and I agree. I think sales is very important for every entrepreneur and freelancer out there, because you feel that you are super good at the skill, and that's why you can take that direction in your career, and you'll just like make it. Actually, having that skill is only part of it. You still have to go out and showcase, and same
Yeah.
goes for even startup founders, right? We are into building. Like most of the tech startups are like that. Like you'll have one coder from this college and like very passionate about building the product, but then if you're building in your college dorm, no one really knows what you're building. So
Yeah.
there has to be someone, either you or your team or your co-founders, right, who goes out there, talks about it, and looks for clients, looks for investors. So I believe like even for freelancers or entrepreneurs, the actual business is only a part of it, like the actual product that you are building
Yeah,
or the actual
definitely.
skill you have, and rest of it is selling. And selling
Yeah.
is today, I feel, one of the most important skill that people need to have.
100%.
Yeah, even if
I
you're
am so like on board with that because I was following this huge agency owner on Instagram and stuff, and I used to have this thing, yo, I'm a designer. I'll probably get someone to do the sales for me and whatever, whatever. But the founders of that super huge agency, they send themselves like 100 emails a day.
yeah.
Yeah, from their own LinkedIn. So it's not like sales. Sales is often perceived as a very inferior
Yeah,
job
for
sometimes.
some reason.
Yeah, for some reason.
I
When
don't
it's
get
like,
why.
I love like closing deals and stuff.
Closing deals is the biggest kick you get in
Yeah.
at any work, because you know that you have convinced the other party, right? So in fact, I feel that for any freelancer or entrepreneur, you are the best person to sell yourself.
Yeah.
No matter how experienced or what kind of experts you hire, only you know your business or your skills the best, right? So if you are not able to do the selling, then I think it's a uphill battle
Yeah.
then. But of course, I mean, big companies have their sales teams and everyone is trained in their product.
Yeah,
but
but
when
in
you're-
this range, like I think
when you're starting
super
out,
important.
there's no running away. And I think even after you start handling your team, you need to have done it yourself to even see whether the team is how good they are, right? So that's one thing I feel, again, formal education does not teach you. And we'll get into quite a lot of these topics. We'll keep going back to that because I personally feel very strongly about personal finance not being a topic of in the formal education system, right? Not being given the spotlight that it needs, given that it's a very basic life skill, just like cooking, that you need to know just to survive, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, I think when it comes to soft skills, like you mentioned, communication is very important. We have learned the hard way after spending like years in the work life that
Yeah.
that if that was something that was taught in school, then life would have been so much easier.
Yeah, it's so important because like even I've noticed, right? There are a lot of designers that are probably better than me, but they don't get clients because they don't communicate
Yeah.
enough. Like these soft skills helps a lot. Like
Yeah.
even there are many designers that are better than others, but I think it increases the surface area of like luck.
Yeah,
The more
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of misconception, and especially in a competitive market like India, right? Like your skill needs to be top notch. You need to be best at that. Yeah, sure. Like, that's a very basic requirement. But someone who has better soft skills, they might outdo you in career, they become more successful, and you cannot hold it against them because that's another kind of hard work, right? So you need to be a package
Yeah,
of your own skills plus all of these soft skills that get you ahead in your career. Okay, now coming back to design a little bit, what is your design process like?
Okay, this is also pretty interesting. So, in the product design industry, there's usually like a lot of people, a lot of newbies, they follow this very structured UX design process. The first step is going to be this, second step is going to be this, empathize and define, prototype, test, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, like that's not how it works, because if that if if that roadmap was successful, if that process was successful, every startup would be successful.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to like adapt to every situation. So a lot of times in my old startup, there have been times when like we have made the product first and then tested it and then iterated, instead of first doing research, then figuring out blah blah blah. So like it's been very like mix and match, just figuring things out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what design is about, like just figuring a lot of things out without a structured skeletal format.
More of solving problems, like you
Yeah.
said. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you're passionate about solving problems. And mobile app is one of your top skills, right? Or what do you enjoy more? Is it you have dabbled into web page designing, some
Yeah.
marketing related design as well, mobile application? What do you prefer most?
So right now I'm having a lot of fun with designing landing pages.
Yeah.
So that's more like marketing centric, right? You have to
Yeah.
try to convert users. So yeah, I think landing page design is something I'm super having fun with at the moment. But product based design is also like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you design differently for different platforms, different audiences? Is there, I know you don't like the very structured thing, but is there some sort of like guidelines you follow?
I mean, yeah, like for kids, suppose, okay, I've worked with a very like vast variety of like startups, right? One was a board game company, so and another was a sales school.
Okay.
Uh, funnily, like how
Yeah.
we are talking about how sales is super important.
Yeah.
They are building a sales school, pretty cool. So
We need that. You can go and tell them that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we have to design very differently for both these startups because the target audience is different, right? For like a board game company, it might be kids, and it's an educational board game company. So yeah, depends on a lot of factors. I
Yeah.
think everything has to be like customized
Right.
to maximize the benefits and stuff.
And like, how is designing for mobile app different from landing pages, different from create, like, designing creatives for social media? Because even for us as founders, like, we get a lot of inquiries for hiring, and people want to be hired as designers, and they have no clue what kind of portfolio to present, because I may be looking for a mobile app designer and may not be looking for social. So just because you have designed mobile app doesn't mean that you'll be good at creatives for social media, because that is more
Yeah,
marketing.
it's usually different roles.
Yeah.
So product design is usually just mobile apps and
Yeah.
web apps, websites and stuff. And there are brand designers and graphic designers
Yeah.
which deal with like the marketing stuff,
Right.
the branding, uh, the social media creatives. So yeah.
But how do you actually decide if you're interested in design, which direction you want to go to, and how do you build your portfolio in that particular direction then?
So like again, graphic and brand designing is more like marketing centric, whereas designing apps and websites it's more product centric. Um, so yeah, you just
You
I
just
guess
figure out.
figure out which direction you want to go in. Yeah.
What's been your biggest inspiration when it comes to landing product design? I think. Yeah, I would want to know product design first.
Biggest inspiration would be Airbnb.
Yeah, what's
Like
what's good about that?
they have been a very design centric startup since the very beginning. The founder Brian Chesky, his interviews and all, they're just like super
Really?
cool, and the processes that they follow, right, to come up with solution and stuff. Like they do these cool exercises. So Airbnb has, you know, suppose you have stayed at an Airbnb, you give there are 5 stars to rate it from. So uh, they'll figure out what a 5 star experience is. Then they'll figure out what a 6 star experience is, 7 star, 8 star, 9 star. So they have these really like cool small like exercises that they do that make them like really cool. Like it's pretty
As a
design
platform
centric. Yeah,
for in hospital.
yeah, as a
So
product.
because when you said Airbnb, I was not sure whether you're talking about their platform or the because landing pages. They've been also very popular for coming up that just one tile as a landing page where
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just. So that was they were one of the pioneer websites, if I'm not wrong, to come up with that kind of design structure.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it was. I mean, long ago they came up with that, which was basically selling experiences.
Yeah.
So I think they have aced both landing page designs and the platform design. But anyone else that actually inspires you in terms of landing pages and web page design? Any other company?
So there's nothing specific. There are a lot of great landing pages out there.
Yeah.
But company wise,
Or what does your research process look like? If
I
like
think
of-
Duolingo is great.
Duolingo is great.
Duolingo is crazy.
They've also done a wonderful job in app.
Yeah. So again, product design is very psychology based, and Duolingo does this thing called gamification. And they basically, gamification means they basically gamify the whole experience.
Right.
You have to follow streaks, this, that, and
Yeah.
the retention that they have managed to like achieve is super insane. Like even friends of mine, they have 500-day streaks.
On Duolingo.
Yeah, a friend of mine
It's more
reached
than a
a
year.
345-day streak, like a year. And they follow these, they don't follow, but there are these gamification principles. This is the Octalysis framework. It's super interesting. It's very psychology.
Yeah, I think Duolingo is one app or even a company that is been known for gamification and design. One question I just wanted to get deeper into: how important do you think design is in terms of user retention versus user acquisition? If you have worked enough on product.
I mean,
Does at a certain point does design stop mattering? Because I know that
I think it stops mattering after you have found PMF.
Okay.
But till then, you just have to. It doesn't stop mattering. Like, okay, I take back what I said.
Okay.
Doesn't stop mattering at all. But yeah, once you have found PMF, like I've seen a lot of startups, right? Even Varun Maya talked about this on one of his podcasts. Ki UX designers in general are super important when you're building a startup from 0 to 1 and 1 to 100 or whatever. But when you've found PMF, once everything is pretty stable and you want to figure out more ways to get revenue or make the experience better, then like it stops mattering a lot.
Okay.
Like,
because
yeah.
you have loyal users and they
Yeah, you have loyal users and stuff.
figured
But
the way.
while building from 0 to 1 and 1 to 100, it's like I think designers are like pretty much.
It's the face of the brand in a way,
Yeah.
right? And I kind of agree with that, but we also have a very conflicting opinion in the ecosystem in startups, especially is that when you are building, you get to market first. Don't focus too much on UI UX because UI UX has no end to it. You know that, right? So
Yeah.
like design, you can just keep enhancing and enhancing that further and further. So there's this notion that you create something functional. It doesn't have
An
to have
MVP.
great MVP, and you get to market, and then the customers will tell you how to make your build your product.
But that's like 0 to 1. But after getting to market, you also have to like
yeah,
find PMF and stuff, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that stage, till you find PMF.
Till you find PMF. So I do feel that designers are important right from day one. But yeah, I think the kind of resources that you deploy into design, maybe you can cut down on that until you have gone to market because you still have to test out the basic functionalities.
Yeah. I agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, of course, design then becomes very important in terms of hooking users and keeping them hooked also.
Yeah.
So you have worked with startups mostly so far, right? As clients also you have mostly startups or you have enterprises as well?
No enterprises as such.
Mostly startups. So how
Yeah.
has your startup experience been? Like what do you like most about it? What do you not like about it?
So I have worked with startups and for a startup. So while I was working for the startup, Blue Learn, it changed my life.
Yeah.
So I joined as a designer, right? So I thought I would only be designing. But that's like one of the things I learned because I learned so many other things. I learned operations, I learned sales, I learned even a little bit of marketing, content,
Nice.
social media, which has helped me a lot.
Yeah.
So the best thing I think about a startup is the rapid growth, especially your first job. If it's a startup, you're going to learn so many things that it's just going to upskill you as a person. It's just
Yeah.
going to equip you with so
Yeah.
many things that you're going to be super grateful. That's what I love about startups.
Yeah.
What I don't really like about startups is not much, but sometimes like it's not very defined, right? It's not a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You're building something with a bunch of other cool people and you want to maximize output as much as possible. So work hours might get a little blurry,
Yeah.
but yeah, startups are
Shout
great.
out to my team. Thanks for putting up with that. But you have also just heard how great it is to, how much you
It's
learn in a
great.
startup.
I think
So,
it's great.
I hope my team is happy with that. And here is your Easter egg.
Hey, since you're finally here, comment the worst design you have ever seen in finance and what you'd like to change about it. And I'll send you a Notion doc that'll help you go from 0 to 1 in design and land your first client. Good luck out there.
And then you have started freelancing. Would you rather be an employee of a startup, or do you prefer freelancing more?
To learn things, definitely employ, because you learn a lot of stuff. And right now, I think I want to go the freelancing route. Uh, I wouldn't say my goal, but what I'm thinking about these days, because I don't know anything about the future. I'm a very impulsive, uncertain kind of a guy. But uh, yeah, what I'm thinking about right now is being a digital nomad. You know how
Right.
they like travel around, all around the
Right.
world. Yeah, and do freelancing and stuff. So yeah.
So we'll get into the future and the stability aspect of freelancing, but before that, wanted to know about your content creation journey, because you've been I mean, we have said in the beginning in your intro that you've had thousands of followers on social media, 500,000 views or so. How has your journey been like? How did you figure your way out around this?
So it's been pretty interesting. I would say in the beginning, I've always wanted to make videos and stuff. I think it's every kid's dream to be a YouTuber,
Is
right, in
that
school.
so?
Yeah, so like, so I was like, it was fun, you know, like I wanted to make videos, so I made my first video in like 2024 only. And it took me 3 months to make that one video because I was like so hell bent on quality.
Yeah.
I was like quality over quantity any day. But then later I started like churning out videos at a much faster rate. So now I make one video a day. And that helped me a lot because what I've learned, especially in content creation, you have to put yourself out there as much as you can, as many times as you can. And that helps you get more eyes on you. So yeah, quantity over quality is one major, as in content creation, is a major like thing I've learned, and you get better with
Yeah,
like
you're able to pull off good quality even like at higher
yeah, because in
frequency.
the beginning you focus on quantity, right? It's like a graph, keeps increasing overall, the quality. Yeah.
Yeah. So, since you mentioned that you make one video a day,
Yeah.
I would like to know, what does a typical day in the life of a content creator look like?
Typical day in a life. So I spend like 1 hour in making the whole video, like recording, producing
Okay.
everything, because my videos aren't like, you know, those flashy tech gurus, like crazy subtitles. Woof, woof. It's just very candid,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of assets ready for it from the beginning. Even the scripts, I take like 2-3 days before I start a series on Instagram. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
And I ready 20 days worth of scripts. So yeah, it's pretty chill. I basically do my primary stuff, which is design, living, eating food, blah blah blah, and just 1 hour of that is focused on content creation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then operations part of it, how much does that time? Like, there would be editing, there'd be,
Yeah, everything in
uploading,
that 1 hour.
everything in that one
Yeah.
hour, and that's sorted.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then you do your freelancing stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for your content creation, where do you take creative inspiration from?
So there's no like creative inspiration for me. I think my videos especially, right? It's a lot of me, just me, like growing up, what shows I watch, this. For example, I think a very like unique thing about my videos is me using a fisheye lens. So people are like, where did you get this from? Where did you get this idea from? I used to just like growing up watch like a lot of skateboarding videos from the 90s, and they had a fisheye lens. So I incorporate a lot of like me into my own videos. So I think that makes it creative enough because every person is super
So
unique,
your
right?
own journey, your own life is sort of the
Yeah,
creative
and I keep
inspiration.
like music that I like.
Yeah.
I keep putting Easter eggs as well. Like I love Frank Ocean,
Yeah.
and I like put his lyrics as quotes or whatever. Like small stuff.
And that's what brings authenticity and relatability to your
Yeah,
videos, I
because
believe.
there's too much of this. You know, creators that are like, this is what you do to get this,
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So
Follow these 5
yeah,
steps, and
like
then you will ace your.
yeah.
You mentioned something like about putting up series on it. What kind of series you put on your Instagram?
Oh, so series is great. right now I'm like 20 articles in 20 days. So 20
Okay.
really cool design articles. Because in design, like uh, constantly, it's a lifelong education. So it's important to like keep learning things every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and articles are a great way to do that because it takes like 8 minutes, 10 minutes
Yeah.
to read them. So yeah, my current series is based on that. Ki every day I'll come on, I'll give you a really cool article that I read myself on that day, and I'll be like, hey, this is a cool article. You should check it out. So yeah, and
Yeah.
series are great because it's easier to plan.
Yeah.
Before I start the series, I'm talking about the creation side of it. It's much easier to start and script everything, and yeah, you
It
know
kind of
what's
gives you content for a period of time rather
yeah,
than you
yeah,
thinking about new things every day,
yeah,
right? And
exactly.
I feel that even the audience, I mean, as a consumer, I would like to think that if I know that there is going to come up with design articles for this
Yeah,
next
they'll be
20
hooked.
days.
They'll follow and
Yeah,
stuff.
then I'll be like, hey, this one was cool. I learned something new. What will be the next one?
Mm-hmm.
What more I can learn from the
Yeah,
series, right?
definitely.
So that's a great idea. Where did that come from? Like, was it like you just thought of it, or you saw somebody,
No, I saw like a bunch of people
bunch
were
of
doing
people do
it.
that, and
So, and it was working out for them. So I was like,
yeah, yeah, why not? And
why not?
it's worked out great for
Yeah.
you. Amazing. Okay, so now we'll get into a little bit of personal finance topic. But before that, just wanted to know your opinion on what do you feel at this stage of your life, at this age, what do you feel is the best investment one could make?
So I'm very financially illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
So literally the only thing I know is money come, money go.
Okay.
But recently I've been like talking to people, talking to a friend of mine. He told me about mutual funds and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
how you invest and it grows over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have a very half-baked idea of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's literally like,
So
mm,
do you like, do you have to manage your own money? Has there been an opportunity that you have to take note of how this is how much I have and this is I've
I'm
spent?
starting to do that.
You're starting to
Yeah,
do that.
before
What
I
kind?
was like just uh, eyeballing everything.
Yeah.
Just
And I
okay,
believe
I'm
now
not broke today. That's good.
that's
Yeah,
now you figured out that you could like do it more actively and
yeah,
like
yeah.
decide, make the right kind of decisions. What kind of help do you think you will need while transitioning to taking charge of your finances now at some point?
I think some sort of tracker.
Some tracker.
Yeah, like right now, like I just write it on Notion, like whatever I've spent today,
Yeah.
this that, so I can keep track of it. But if there was a way to like automatically track everything, I'm pretty sure there are apps for that,
Yeah, there are apps for
and I
that.
should, yeah,
Yeah. And how about
educate myself a
investing?
bit.
Would you like any kind of help with helping you, like, in terms of investing money?
Yeah, for sure. Because right now it's just so many things.
Mm-hmm.
It's confusing. Like, where do I even get into
Right.
when it comes to finance?
Right.
Yeah, there's mutual funds, stocks,
Yeah.
gold, this, that, this,
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
like, do you think you or your peers even knew the basic difference in stocks, mutual funds, SIPs, like what these things mean?
I
Or
think a lot of my peers do. Yeah,
how about yourself?
I don't.
You don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure the moment you Google or go Investopedia, you can get in-depth knowledge about it.
Okay.
But what's stopping the young population from actually getting to know about it? Like, does it not occur to them, or do they think that is too much? Where to start? Like, what is happening?
I think it's very overwhelming at the start.
Yeah.
And also, like, people don't have an idea, right? A lot
Mhm.
of youngsters, at
Yeah.
least. That's what I feel. They don't teach finance in schools,
Damn right.
personal finance and stuff. So, yeah, I think people realize pretty late,
Yeah.
oh, I should actually start doing something instead of just stacking the money up.
Which
Um,
is also, I think, one of the better ones who stack the money up because mostly it goes down.
yeah, true.
Right. So I think that's a very good point you made. The education is lacking in schools when it comes to something like personal finance, right? And then when kids get out of schools and colleges, then they don't know what to do with the money, right? So it gets spent, and then the whole older generation will be on top of their heads that you just know how to spend. But
Hmm.
did you teach the kids to save and invest in the first
Yeah,
place? You
yeah.
did not, right?
Hmm.
So I think there's this major gap there, right? Where people keep talking about, oh, Gen Z just like knows how to spend and they just want to party. But I'm like, that's not true, because we do a number of sessions in colleges. These college students that come to the sessions could be from fourth year, like like pre-graduation, or they could be first years as well. And in some of the groups, some of the sessions, the questions that they come up with are amazing. Some of them are even better than the sessions we have done in with professionals in corporates. So we see that there's high intent. They want to know, they want to learn. So it's not true that they're all about spending.
Yeah.
It's just that what are you providing them? Have you
Mm-hmm.
built up a system that they can use as a step, like, or a ladder to climb onto the level where they feel confident to not overspend, to take care
Mm-hmm.
of their money. So I think that's majorly lacking. And of course, now that comes to the question about like the formal education, right? So I do have a couple of questions about that. Your opinion on how important do you think tertiary education is in a person making a living and making a career out of like the education that go through? So any opinion on that?
So I have a bunch of theories.
Yeah, please go
Uh,
ahead.
so the first one is that you don't really need a degree for a profession that can't get others killed or take someone else's
Right.
life. For example, medicine.
Yeah.
Again, it's a very half-baked theory.
Yeah.
I haven't put much thought into it. And the other thing is, I think degrees are good to get into your first job.
Mm-hmm.
But once you have that experience, right, in a well-known startup or wherever in any field, I think that's when degrees stop mattering a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and people look at experience and skill more.
Yeah,
Like at least, especially these days.
definitely. And I feel that learning in itself does not stop at a degree anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you learned in your area, like in your profession, if you have done your education in that same line, your learning did not stop at your degree, because there's continuous learning as you go through your career. And it's always the younger people, and especially with the tech advancement that's happening and how fast the world is changing, how dynamic it is, the younger cohort always comes with better knowledge, better skills, of, let's say, using tools or whatever resources you have at hand. So while the older professionals, they may have more experience, they definitely don't have the latest skills. So
Yeah.
you always have to have that student attitude and keep going back to.
One cool example of this is in marketing, right?
Yeah.
So they were like very serious marketers. And then memes started getting famous.
Yeah.
And there's a whole agency, I think, around meme
Yeah.
marketing
Yeah.
and making silly
Great
reels and blah, blah,
example
blah.
there.
So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, right? So that proves our point that I think tertiary education is great. It gives like some sort of structured learning to people who are looking for that. It also gives a kind of backup plan to a certain population who are not very sure about what
True,
they're
true.
passionate about. But at the same time, it can't be enforced on everyone, and especially at a particular age. There should be more freedom, I think, for you to go back and do your learning whenever you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you've figured out this is what I want to learn
Mhm.
about. So, do you think passion is overrated today? Like, because you have a lot of people saying, oh, just like you don't care about that and just go for your passion, quit your
Yeah.
job, travel, you know.
I think like passion is an emotion, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Um, so I think you have to be a little level-headed as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when I dropped out and everything, I was very like high on emotions and stuff, and I got very lucky because like I was already making a little bit of money here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone else does that who is not very stable or doesn't really know what to do and he just leaves his college degree, then that can be pretty harmful as well.
Right.
Can
That's
be
very important.
yeah.
No.
Um, so yeah, I think passion is important. I think everything requires balance to
Yeah,
some extent.
very well said.
So yeah.
Because I was going to ask you about, like, even as a freelancer, I know you have your own income, but then managing money becomes all the more challenging because you don't know where the next paycheck is coming from.
Mm.
So what's your thought process like currently? I know you have not started investing or anything, but as you would think about future, even right now, let's say you think out aloud, right? Uh, how do you see freelancing playing out when it comes to having a stable and secure future? And what advice do you want to give to the audience when it comes to that career?
So freelancing has been always labeled as like a very unstable career path or whatever, but I see it differently. I see it like again, if you look at it from a sales perspective, if you talk to 1,000 people in a month or send 1,000 cold
Cold
emails, blah blah
emails.
blah, there's a good chance, right, that
Yeah.
at least one will convert.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can make it stable. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a business.
Correct.
And I think if you look at it that way, every business might look unstable, but everyone has their own SOPs.
Yeah.
Every business has their own processes. So similarly, freelance can also have its own processes, its
Right.
own goals. You set goals, you try to hit those goals. So yeah, it can be pretty
Absolutely.
stable. That's what
It
I
can
feel.
be. No, very true, because, like you mentioned, if you talk to 1,000 people, it can't be that yields no results, right? Even if, let's say, you get no response, you get bunch of learnings that your approach is wrong, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think consistency is key when it comes to
For
any
sure.
kind of profession that has that unstable part of the income, because even in a corporate job, you have sales. Sales a lot of times is 50 to 70% commissions. In some careers, it could be 100% commissions as well. So what do you do with that kind of career, right? So it's consistency, and that's how people actually go on to build a long-term career in these professions. And I think freelancing could be something like that.
Yeah.
And over time, you can always expand it as a business and have your own team. How about content creation? How far do you think this career going? And is there a future in that? Can people, like you said, every kid's dream is to be a YouTuber? Can they keep it as a career goal for themselves?
I think content creation is one of the most underrated career paths because it's literally direct distribution. So if I have 15,000 followers today and I get like 10,000, 12,000 views on every video, it's literally direct distribution, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I've seen a lot of cases where brands have collaborated with creators and for one reel they're paying them 35 to 40 lakhs. So yeah, I think distribution is always going to be valuable.
Yep.
No matter what happens, what AI this that comes. Yeah, it's direct distribution.
It's
It's
the
always going to be
distribution.
valuable.
Absolutely. What are the biggest challenges you see in content creation line?
Biggest challenges.
Yeah.
So far it's been really smooth,
Yeah.
but I
That's good for
think
you. But like, how about
brands lowballing me would be a big challenge.
yeah.
So when they come to do brand collabs and stuff, yeah, I think converting them
Yeah.
to pay me more,
Pay
like
you more.
convincing them ki look, my reach is this, my audience ka quality is this.
I think a lot of full-time employees can relate to that when they get lowballed by the
Yeah.
HRs. So that's not exactly just for content creation, but yeah, definitely one of those skills that people need to learn, have negotiation skills, filtering out good and bad clients, someone who's not worth your time. Another thing I think is one I feel most concerned about, although I'm not at all interested in content creation journey, I feel most concerned about is that, let's say you build your audience on Instagram, 100,000 followers or 1 million followers, and tomorrow Instagram becomes outdated, just like Facebook did or other platforms did. How do you transport your audience versus a business that can always kind of, if they stop a line of product, they still have the leads, they still have the data to kind of push other products to that audience?
I think that's very like personal brand related. So on Instagram, if you build a personal brand, like you're very connected with your audience, they'll follow you wherever you go, right? For example, Varun Maya, if Instagram shuts down, or any creator in general, uh, with a loyal fan base, someone that's connected to their audience, I don't think they will have a lot of problem. There will be problems, but I don't think they'll suffer that much because they can always transfer the audience elsewhere. But
Okay.
if you make random content, right, that doesn't connect with the audience, then yeah, it will fizzle out. Like
Yeah.
your platform is your only life
Right.
support.
So you are the product basically, and
Yeah.
the product is being followed. Do you see content creators diversifying platforms, like, now that I've built Instagram, I must do
Yeah, a lot of them do.
YouTube,
Like
just
a
to
lot of them
hedge
have
this?
started out on YouTube, and then they've built a massive following on Instagram and vice versa.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's a good strategy as well to
It
make
is,
sure
it
that
is.
that's great. So I think That's all from me. It's been like a very interesting conversation. I'm sure the audience has learned so much about freelancing, about content creation, about design.
Yeah.
And I hope they have found out the Easter egg somewhere so they can get that roadmap that we spoke about. We are coming to the very interesting segment, which is a rapid fire segment. It's going to
Okay.
be a few questions and we'll have very rapid answers from you.
Okay.
So let's get started.
Sure.
Okay. Startup versus content creation.
Content creation.
What do you spend more time on, mobile or laptop?
Mobile.
Uh,
Unfortunately.
Jack of all trades or master of one?
Jack of all trades.
What's your go-to resource for design inspiration?
Landing folio.
Where do you go to get your best creative ideas?
I spend time with myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
How would you describe your design style in one word?
Useful.
That's very good. That's
Yeah.
all we need. Which app do you use the most on your phone?
Instagram.
Okay. One piece of advice that changed your life. Good or bad? Change.
Nothing matters at the end. We are all gonna die. So go all out. Do whatever you want.
Okay. Thankfully,
Yeah.
you gave a good twist to that because I was like, is it going in a good direction or
Yeah.
bad? Okay. What's your biggest pet peeve in design?
Pet peeve. When people follow very specific processes.
Okay.
A lot of portfolios, right? They get rejected just because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could be somebody else for a day, who would that be?
There's this artist called Tyler the Creator.
Yeah. That was amazing there. It was great to have you on a podcast.
Likewise.
And thank you, audience, for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you wish to talk to me or my co-founder, Utkarsh, then you can book a call with us. The link is in the description.